Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sibling Rivalry podcast, end of the year / decade show.
Are you excited?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Erin.
I'm Ashley.
And we're sisters, 2.5 years apart. Anyway, so we are wrapping up the end of the year. We're only, 2-3 days, 4 or 5 days away, something like that.
I think my 31 minus 27 is 4 days.
4 days.
4 days away.
4 days away from the new year. So much has happened in 2019 and just in the decade alone. So I want to ask you, since you are the pop culture analyst.
Thank you.
What was the biggest story of 2019?
I feel like 2019 had several big stories, and then you forgot about all of them as soon as that next big story came. Donald Trump is always a story. He's just okay. He's only the third president ever to get impeached, and just moving on. The college scandal was huge. The R. Kelly thing was huge.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods making a comeback was huge. All these things happen, and then you're like, oh, that happened this year. You completely forget about these things.
But with all that being said, what is the biggest out of all those stories that you say kind of took over?
To me, there's no biggest story. They all had their moment. I'm
going to say, it's a tie between the R. Kelly situation, because, that documentary pretty much relaunched an investigation of R. Kelly, and now he's sitting in jail. That or the college scandal. I feel like the college scandal thing was beyond dramatic. You had Felicity Huffman, one of the greatest actresses of our time, had guns drawn to her face.
That's what happens when you upset the federal authorities of the United States of America.
Damn. It was that was a pretty sensational story, I would say.
Yeah, but Felicity took it like a champ. When did that happen? It happened in April.
Yeah,
she pleaded out in September. She was done in October. If you ever gonna get caught up by the feds, follow Felicity Huffman's rule of thumb there.
Oh man. So kind of along those lines, I would say we're going to transition into movies here. There are a lot of bad movies the first 6 months of the year. And anybody that knows me well knows I'm a huge Disney fan. I used to own all the VHSs. I'm a Disney fanatic. So when the live action remakes came out, I was so excited. Only to be disappointed that all of them were trash.
Literally
all of them were trash. Dumbo all the way down to The Lion King. The Lion King was such a disappointment. I was in damn near tears. I was expecting the script to be what it was. I'm not going to let this go. The script to be what it was, and it was totally different. With the exception of Beyonce, to be honest with you, I felt like all the lines were delivered flatly. It wasn't good. It was a bad movie.
I don't know what Donald Glover was doing in that movie. I love DG. Maybe he's one of those people that can't do other people's things. You know what I mean? They can only do their own thing, because he was like, I'm Simba. Come help me, Simone and Pumbaa. What? What?
It was just bad. That movie was horrible. It was bad. It was bad.
Aladdin was bad.
Aladdin was trash.
Dumbo was the worst. I fell asleep during Dumbo. That was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I was tired. I go in there. I'm it took an hour and a half for the elephant to fly. I'm this is all a Dumbo. Why ain't this little man flying? It took forever for him to fly. And then when he flied, they immediately kidnapped him. This is trash. I did not like this movie at all. And mind you, I fell asleep through the first at least 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Wake up, and he still has not flown yet.
It was bad. It was, yeah, Disney needs to do better with their live action remakes.
I never was one of those crazy, those people that are obsessed with Disney.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it was never the end all be all.
That's a little strange for not to really be
it's not. It's
a kid of the 90s.
I like Lion King. I like Little Mermaid, but I don't have to go back and relive that. I'm that's cool. You know what I mean?
I think you're probably the minority with that.
I have no problem with that.
So the second half, though, of the year, the movies are great. Just to name off some, The Irishman.
Good. Great. Good.
Really good movies. Yeah. Uncut Gems, to be honest with you, I was just I do not want to go see that movie. I thought it was going to be trash. But it was really good. It surprised me. I really enjoyed the fast-paced sort of intensity of it. I was reading reviews online and everybody was like, oh, well, it was split. I'll be honest. It was split. It was either 1 star or 5 stars. A lot of people that didn't like it said it was too loud. It was chaotic. The plot didn't make any sense, which I really disagree with. I thought it made complete sense.
I think some people are like, it's a movie with a lot. Like, it's a gambling movie. It's a jeweler movie. It's a sports movie. It's a sports movie to some degree. And if you're like a gambling hardcore and you're like, the parlays didn't make sense. I mean, okay, maybe not. But just watch the movie, okay? But I enjoyed Uncut Gems. Comparing that with another A24 movie, Waves, I enjoy Uncut Gems a lot more than Waves.
Yeah.
Waves, I feel like the performances in Waves were good, but the movie lacked some type of substance.
It was too long. That was one of my biggest.
Okay, this is a rant that I have to go on for 2019. Movies do not need to be more than 2 hours. I say that loving every 3.5 hours of The Irishman.
Yeah.
And I understand why that's 3.5 hours long. But like movies on average are 2.5. That's too long. No. Tell a movie in 90 minutes. What happened, people?
You are in the movie theater for a whole work day.
A whole day. I have to go after work now. I can't take on my Saturday to go to the movies. I got things to do.
Because not only are the movies 2.5 hours, you got trailers that are 45 minutes.
For the same movies that you have already seen at the other thing. I know people are like, you can skip the trailers, Not nowadays.
No.
They come on. They're just sitting there like, I thought this movie started at 10:45. You come 5 minutes late and the trailers are still on. Or 20 minutes late, the trailers are still on. Like, come on, bro. Come on.
Well, like we mentioned, The Irishman was really good.
It's probably my favorite of the year.
Marriage Story over Marriage Story?
Yeah. Because everybody talks about the fight scene in Marriage Story. I think it's very hard to make a fight, like a relationship fight scene in a movie or a TV show that's realistic. I always feel like it's like too much acting, or people are it's kind of like I didn't dislike it, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I thought like that Marriage Story was good, but I thought The Irishman was great.
Why? I
just enjoyed it more. I just love Robert. Like, I haven't seen Goodfellas. Everybody's like, oh, Goodfellas is so much better. I haven't seen that, okay? I'm sorry. The Goodfellas, when Goodfellas came out, I was 3. Oh, no, sorry, I'm so young. But, so, like, The Irishman was kind of my first introduction to Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, and all of them together. I just really enjoyed the movie. I mean, Robbie D is doing it at 75 years old. Like, come on, man. Give that man an Oscar.
He's looking great. Now, pardon my ignorance here, but how many Oscars has Robert De Niro won?
I don't know.
If any.
I know he's won. At least one. I can Google that for you.
Well, in the meantime, so Uncut Gems, Knives Out, we really enjoyed.
Yeah, I like Knives Out.
What else did we like? Marriage Story, Knives Out, The Irishman. I like Queen of Slim.
I don't dislike Queen of Slim. However, I felt as though it was a movie that tried to tell a message instead of... The message was over the story, and the story should have been over the message. You could tell the story and still get messages across, but I feel like this movie was trying to be like message. If you've ever seen Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, you would get that joke. If you haven't, you should watch it. I think it's on Netflix. But I thought that it, like, instead of just being a movie about two people on the run, it was a movie about, like, we gotta have black joy and we can have black love. And it's like,
and black trauma.
That was too many movies. Like, you're trying to tell too many stories in one movie. Like, you know what I mean? And what Lena Waithe famously said is she didn't take a note from a white person. And it's like, well, you should have took a note from somebody. I'm sure black people that gave you notes too was like, this is too much, girl. No disrespect to the Chicago legend, but yeah, I have conflicted feelings. I thought the movie itself looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I would look at a picture book of that movie all day long. I was listening to a review and they said the same thing. I thought it looked beautiful. But I thought just story-wise, it just kind of was like too much sometimes.
One thing, I overall enjoyed the movie. One thing that I kind of took issue with the character Queen in the beginning is that she was just like a little bit too unlikable. You know, like she was just, and I was listening to a review on this on YouTube, and it was just like, does she have to be that like hostile? You know what I mean? And it kind of just played into a lot of stereotypes. The black women are hostile, angry, can't be loved, and all that type of jazz. But I don't know. I really took issue with that. And like as the movie went on, obviously she became more vulnerable and all that good stuff. But it just didn't seem realistic that someone that's hostile and closed off would even open herself up to be on a Tinder date. Like to me, that was just kind of like, I don't know. But overall, I thought the movie was good. I love the little characters that you met along the way and how you had different perspectives of black people. Some people like, yeah, man, I'm with you, you know, all the way.
But even that to me felt messagey. Instead of just being real, like, and then the protest scene.
But I think that's real, though. You don't think that's real when you?
I don't think it's not unreal, but I feel like the way it was in the movie felt contrived.
Okay,
and this comes from someone who went to film school.
One issue you took with is when they pulled over to ride horses.
Yeah, like what the hell? You want to run? You ain't got time for this.
But I told you my counter argument to that was like, they know that this is probably going to be the only time they experience some sort of freedom. And they have been running.
It probably would have been if they would have got on the damn plane instead of ran to go ride horses. They probably would have had time to ride horses in Cuba.
So Uncut Gems, Knives Out, Queen and Slim. Am I missing anything? The Irishman we talked about.
Marriage Story.
Marriage Story was really good. So along those lines, it's almost award season. Obviously, the biggest award being the Oscars. Who would you give Best Actor to?
Yeah, I'm going to get into Best Actor. Two things about The Irishman. So Robert De Niro has 2 Oscars.
Okay.
And then The Irishman. People are like, the movie's too long. You have to see it in a movie theater. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what Netflix is doing, but that movie does not play as well if you're trying to watch it at home and do other things. Like, you have to pay attention. You have to be in the theater experience to me when you first see it. Now, on a rewatch, you can watch it at home.
Yeah.
But to first experience it the right way, I think you need to watch it in the theater. I know that's impossible now, but just FYI.
No, I agree.
Okay, so there's 5 nominations for the Oscars. For every category in the Oscars, except for Best Picture, I believe. And I'm just going to go through Best Actor, because Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress this year are trash. Like, when I mean they give no good roles to women, quite evident in this year's Oscar race. We'll have another discussion about Bombshell later. It was okay. The storyline with Gretchen, not Megan, but that's tomatoes and tomato. But okay, five nominees for the Oscars. Best Actor. Joaquin Phoenix in a very Oscar-y performance. I won't say the best, but Oscar-y performance in a very mediocre movie of Joker. 2, Adam Driver. I believe he should get it for Marriage Story. 3 is probably going to be
Adam Sandler,
Uncut Gems. 4, I could either see Leo sneaking in for
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then the 5th one is kind of a toss-up. It could go anywhere between Antonio Banderas for Pain and Gain. I have not seen this movie. Or Dolomite Was My Name for Eddie Murphy. I would love to see Eddie win an Oscar. He was ripped off for Dreamgirls.
And, like, quite honestly, Nutty Professor. Like, don't have me go there. People don't respect comedy in the Oscars. This role, to me, is not, it's not bad at all, but, like, it's one of those, they're making up Oscar nominations, if that makes sense. Yeah. And people are just excited to see Eddie Murphy again, which I'm like extremely excited to see Eddie Murphy again.
Yeah. I can't wait till he goes on tour.
Yeah. So those are my 5 categories. I think the winner is either going to be Adam Driver, or I could possibly see Adam Sandler walking away with it. Yeah. It's going to be a very tight category. This is the only race in the Oscars that will be close.
I think so, too. Who would you give it to? Not who you think that they're going to give it to. Who would you award the Oscar to?
This is probably very cliche, but I really liked Robert De Niro, man. It's very understated performance. He's not yelling a lot in the movie. He's really kind of like a pawn of these people's scheme. But he carried a 3.5 hour movie very believably. I know there's some kind of controversy about the way he moves. I mean, the man is 75 years old, but in the younger years. But I enjoyed the performance. I enjoyed the movie. So I'm gonna say I would like to see Robert De Niro win. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think how you feel about, well, I'll get to my pick in a few seconds, but I want to talk about Al Pacino's performance. So I saw Scarface years ago, and I was just like, I mean, no knock to Al Pacino, but I was just like, what is the hype with this movie? Like, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, Scarface. And I'm like, it was okay. You know, like it's a hard pass for me. But so I went into The Irishman thinking like, I know Al Pacino's a legend. I think I've seen him here and there outside of Scarface, but I was so invested in his character, like Jimmy Hoffa. Like I thought he was obviously dynamic and engaging. Like he was just interesting.
Like, and you realize he's 78.
He's 78 years old.
74, something ridiculous.
Something like insane. And I was just like, this man is like, I was excited when he was on the screen. You know what I mean? Like every word he was saying, I was just like, what is this? And like he was funny. You know what I mean? He was funny, but also being kind of like not a shady type dude, which he was, but it was just kind of like he was fun to watch. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like he was a fun watch for 3.5 hours. I mean, he wasn't in every scene, but he was in 70% of the movie, maybe 65 if I'm being, I guess, a little bit more rigid. But he was awesome. So I know he wouldn't get Best Actor nomination, but I would give him a Best Supporting Actor by far. I thought he was awesome.
Better than Joe Pesci? From
better. Yeah, that's how I know Joe Pesci. And then I was like, oh, that's the guy when I saw him in Good Shepherd. I was like, oh, that's the dude from Home Alone. But no, I like Joe Pesci.
I thought Joe Pesci was really understated in this performance.
Understated. I would say that the energy that Al brought to the screen was a little bit more noteworthy or like impactful for me as a viewer. But Joe Pesci, I mean, he's always going to give you top-notch performances. But in regards to Best Actor, I would give it to Adam Driver.
For Marriage Story?
For Marriage Story. I think that it's tough to play a character like that in a sincere way. A lot of times when you get these marriage stories or divorce stories, you know, everyone's just like trying too hard to be dramatic. And it's just like, just be a person that's going through a difficult situation. And to pull off that subtlety, I think, really takes a talented person to do that. And I thought that the way he and Scarlett Johansson parented their child through a divorce was so realistic. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when their son didn't want to get in the car. And he was like, just get in the effing car. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, I thought that was just such a real moment. You know, like it wasn't this coddling and all this other type of, you know, soft stuff that you might see in a movie. It was just like, just get in the effing car. I'm tired of dealing with this. Like, get in the car and let's go to where we have to go. I only have you for 3 days out of the week. Like, let's get it go. Like, let's get the show on the road.
And also in that performance, I thought that Laura Dern was playing an extension of her Big Little Lies character. I'm like, is this what Laura Dern does now? Is she still going out with Baron Davis?
I have no idea, but I got to be honest with you. I first heard of Laura Dern back when she was dating like some guy. I was like, oh, I didn't know who she was. And then I started watching Big Little Lies this year. And I was like, she's low-key, high-key, a really good actress.
Speaking of good actresses in Big Little Lies, controversial opinion. Total miscast Meryl Streep. I'm sorry. Do not believe it for 1 second. She was weird in this. I did not like her character in Big Little Lies. Big miscast.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was doing there. I don't know why she was there.
I mean, I get why she was there.
I know why she was there, but it was just like, girl, bye. Like, I'm sorry. I did not. Love Meryl. Great actress. Miscast.
Yeah,
just gonna say it.
I think you see Meryl Streep, and when you see, we've grown so accustomed to seeing Meryl Streep on the big screen that when you do see her on a small screen, it's just like, I don't know if this fits. You know, like that was just my thing. I think as the season kind of progressed I kind of looked at her as, I forget her name, but I kind of looked at her as the character in which she was. And I was just like, okay, but it took 5-6 episodes to get there. I would not recast Meryl Streep in that capacity again on a small screen. But I agree with you. It was definitely a miscast for that role.
And not to get too far off topic, because I know you have topics you want to cover. But Big Little Lies season 2. So we just know that was what I can't remember their names, but the single mom with the little boy. Yeah. They were like, oh, that's just his father. Like, nobody did any type of test. Like, there was no confirmation. Like, are we serious?
We kind of talked about this when it came to Uncut Gems. You got to suspend belief for a little bit. And, like, why?
Okay, but no. Like in Uncut Gems, yeah, because it's a very outlandish world. But in Big Little Lies, we're supposed to believe that these are rich people, and you don't think they took a DNA test? Like, come on, man. I'm 23andMe or something.
Even if they did, like, what would it add to the story?
What if it would have added a lot? But
the whole thing was she got raped and violated, and from that came this child. Like,
and we just supposed to believe that.
Why wouldn't we?
I'm not saying, like, don't get me. I
was gonna say, man, when the year of the woman.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
be careful.
Those, Nicole Kim is not any type of way skeptical that this is her children's brother.
Well, no, because I think she knew that he was a bad guy. Like, it's not implausible that he would do something like this.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
And they were all friends. I think they were all somewhat connected and developed friendship. So it's like, why would I do a 180 and all of a sudden believe my friend was out here, with different dudes? Like, I'm not saying she was out here with different dudes. I'm just saying, like, that wasn't the dude that violated her. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, we'll take this to the Big Little Lies. we'll do a Big Little Lies podcast. Trying to think what else. So the past 10 years, I think we've seen proliferation and profitization, if that's a word, profiting off of social media. I don't think anyone could have predicted Instagram and freaking YouTube. The highest paid YouTube person is some 8-year-old that made $26 million.
This is ridiculous. It should be a law.
Like,
it should be a law against this.
No, not. But like $26 million.
Do you know how much I could pay off with 26? I would be able to pay off half my student loan, $26 million.
Jeez Louise. But anyway, I don't think anyone saw the money opportunities available on social media 10 years ago.
No, absolutely not. I agree with that.
So what do you think the next big wave is? I guess the gag is nobody really knows anything. But like, what do you think the next big wave is for the next 10 years?
I don't know. I think the generation coming up behind the millennials, and we got to stop blaming everything on millennials, because millennials are like 40 now. Okay, so it's not the millennials.
I was listening to a report. They said the oldest millennial will now be 39.
Yeah, so
it's crazy,
very old. But I think the generation, like, millennials are very much like, I want a whole life, like, I believe in work-life balance. And the generation behind us, our 8-year-olds make $26 million a year. So I think the millennials are not going to be like the baby boomers of the generation and be like, where's my $26 million? I'm sorry, I just had to live through the most traumatic experience in American history.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man.
Before we end that note, let's just recap everything that millennials have experienced over the past, not even 10, I'll just say 20 years. So we had 9/11. School shootings, financial crisis that we're still kind of rebounding from, if we're honest.
The opioid
epidemic. Social media and what that did to people's self-esteem. Because we were somewhat analogs.
The rise of the internet.
In general. So we've been through a lot, okay? A hell of a lot.
And this little kid makes $8 million.
And this little kid makes $26 million. For reviewing toys, if I understand it correctly.
So, yeah, the millennials are going to turn into the boomers. They're going to be, back in my day, we had to download music from Napster, and these little burgers are making money off of it. Yeah, I got a problem with it. You're exactly right.
You might get in trouble for using the Southern accent, like...
For what? How is that? It's like an old person. It's not a Southern accent.
An old person talks like that?
An old person, yeah.
Anyway,
a person.
So back to the original question. What's the next wave, man?
I just told you. The millennials will turn into the baby boomers.
I mean, outside of that, I know that, but I'm talking about like,
I don't have a wave. I told you my wave. Like I don't you want me to just generate waves. I told you what my wave was.
I think for myself, I think the next 10 years we'll see maybe refinement of social media. I mean, we see it now. Instagram is trying to take away likes or limit comments and stuff like that. So I think my hope is that people will put into perspective what technology is supposed to be used for, which is essentially making money and elevating somebody's platform.
I think there's going to be two different versions of two different classes of social media, internet. And I think there's going to be a thing where it's like a subscribed version of like, I'm just making this up, of like Instagram, etc. And that's where you go to like see like, oh, this is what Goop is doing. Oh, this is like the house I want. And then for lack of a better word, it's going to be the free version. And it's like, ghetto. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's going to be eventually, I don't know if it'll be Instagram, I don't know what it will be, but I think there's going to be a way to have people pay for this, and you're gonna be like, oh, like an adless Instagram,
yeah, or
like adless Facebook. Mm-hmm. But by that time, I mean, everybody on Facebook will be 75 years old. So.
I think that's the current Facebook. Does anybody really use Facebook anymore?
I mean, I still go on there.
Oh god,
don't shame me.
Where do you think entertainment is headed to in the next 10 years?
I don't know, but if I hear one more comedian complain about I can't tell jokes anymore, like, shut up. Just be funny. Be funny. Tell a joke and be funny. I have no idea where entertainment is gonna go. I feel like it's very woke now, and I feel like it's gonna go the total opposite direction and be very
I hope so.
Like, you know, kind of crass in 90s, like you woke people, let me shock you. It's going to turn back into like 94 with the shock jocks and shock comedians, and it's very...
I'm looking forward to that, though, because I felt like these last 4 or 5 years... I don't know if it'll be disingenuous. I think we'll see an emergence of people that truly don't care about being woke.
Oh, I think there's a difference between making fun of woke culture and just like not being funny. Like just being like, oh, I'm controversy for the sake of controversy. Like, I think that's not funny. Like, you could tell jokes as long as you're funny. Like, a lot of these people aren't funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, be funny.
Speaking of funny, what did you think of Eddie Murphy's return to SNL?
I'm as a child of the 80s, or as a child that was born in the 80s, I'm really a child of the 90s. I was born in 87. Eddie Murphy went off of Saturday Night Live in 84, so I didn't have any
literally
frame
before
of
your
reference for this because I'm so young. So it's a joke, people. It's a joke. So it was really cool. It was just fun to see Eddie Murphy be funny again. It was just fun just to like see like, oh man, this is the person that like I like hysterically laughed at Coming to America and Nutty Professor. Like, those movies of your childhood where you're like, this is the funniest person I've ever seen on TV. Yeah,
it looked like he was having a great time too. He looked so free and like he was just living in a moment of being on stage again, like being a live performer.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. It was probably the last time I watched Saturday Night Live. Actually live. I'll catch the clips on the next day.
Yeah, the clips. Oh, one thing I want to talk about, not necessarily like a decade thing, but it was a big story for like a week and a half. Lizzo shut down Twitter and the internet when she showed up at the Lakers game with her ass out. Now, my take on this is this. I hate when people use the word body positivity when they're talking about somebody that's overweight. And it's just like, you can be body positive and be in shape. You know what I mean? You can be body positive and be, you know, whatever size, I guess. But like anytime it comes to Lizzo, people's like, oh my gosh, she's so body positive. And it's just like that within itself is discriminatory because you wouldn't say that if Lizzo was 120 pounds.
My whole problem was this is that one thing, like body positive has become a euphemism for fat.
Yeah.
Just like curvy is a euphemism for fat. Like, some people that's curvy ain't fat. And some people that's fat ain't curvy.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's become a euphemism for that. 2, You could be body positive and not show your behind at a Lakers game.
Yeah.
3, if people criticize you on that does not mean they're anti-body positive. They mean put on some damn pants when you go to a Lakers game.
Right.
4, this ain't got nothing to do with kids. Kids don't. You think kids care about seeing somebody booty? It's a booty. Like, calm down. Like, there were kids there.
I hate when people say that.
So what? Don't nobody care about them kids. Them kids don't care either. And then 5, Lizzo is doing too much. She can be a body positive advocate. She can feel comfortable in her body. Anybody telling her she can't do that. And she can also still be doing too goddamn much. Yeah. Like, girl, sit down.
I feel like, and I don't know if it was you said this or somebody said this, but like,
it was probably me.
He was like, when did we start liking people because of their weight? Like when did being a weight thing? When did having a certain weight become a personality trait?
Yeah, like I feel like Lizzo has been out here for a really, really long time, and she's been grinding, and she deserves all the success that she has. However, it's become this thing where you don't know Lizzo's songs as much as you know that, oh, that's the big girl. And I'm not calling her big. I don't want to make
no,
that.
Absolutely not.
But like, I feel like people know her stance before they know her music now.
Yeah, and she's way too talented for that.
Yeah, and I think that's not good for her long term. That's my personal opinion. I don't know that lady, God bless.
Yeah. And I mean, just for the record, I think you can confirm this too. We respect anybody, especially a Black woman that's out here grinding and making it in the industry, because that is hard to do.
Yeah.
So at least my take isn't to be like, F Lizzo, because it's not. But it's just like, it's so much more to Lizzo than her walking around with her ass out.
Yeah, and I feel like that's distracting her from becoming a real star.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel.
I agree. Biggest win of the year for you and biggest win of the decade for you?
I would say biggest win for me of the year was probably starting the new jobs. You know? So that was cool. Biggest win of the decade was getting a job.
Yes, because that we spoke about. We came in when the economy was trash.
Yeah, so maybe that says something about my life that both ended in work. But, we'll work on that for next year, 2020. Yeah. 2020 is my year, 2020 vision. Get ready for those Instagram posts.
I would say my biggest win would be finishing my last degree. Got my second master's. You know what I noticed? These past 10 years, 8 out of the 10 years, I've been in school.
Well, maybe you should stop going to school.
I've been in school. So I would say definitely getting my final degree in 2019. I wanted to be done when I was 30. I got done at like 29 in 10 months. No. So just made it. My biggest win of the decade would probably be falling into healthcare. Seriously,
I've never heard anybody
falling into the healthcare industry. Like, I never knew that, like, when I finally got a job and got into a consulting firm and all that stuff, I just wanted to be a consultant. I didn't know that I wanted to be in the healthcare industry, and it just happened to fall like that. And this an industry that I love, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So the biggest win would probably be having a career or to be in the industry that I absolutely care 100% about. So
awesome.
What's next for you? Oh, last question. Do you have a New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution is the same, to not be fat.
I think my New Year's resolution is to really concentrate on my health, be a lot more just healthy. You know what I mean? Take my vitamins, work out.
Eat healthy. Maybe you should eat a vegetable every once in a while.
I don't eat vegetables as much as I should. But that's pretty much it, man. Wishing you guys a great 2020. That's it for me, man.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Have a great 2020. Follow me at the introvert _adventurer on Instagram. And please follow my Hood Eats Shy on Instagram. I need to try to make this my business, as we were just discussing. So yeah, be a doll. Follow me.
And you can follow me at Inquisitive Introvert on Instagram, or on In Good Company Digital on Instagram as well. We're out.